have worked hard. I mean, you've worked incredibly hard, and I love the fact that someday you are going to be like as big as I imagine you are.
I don't.
And people are going to say you're an overnight success, which is kooky.
Well, I think that's, to them, it would be an overnight. I would love to think that people would be into the work that our band's done, but on a grand global scale, like Fergie, I ain't. You know, like I don't know if I'm that. I don't know if I'm that kind of artist, but I certainly, you know, I love to sing and harmonize and be part of things that make my heart beat. And I guess that's, you know, whether that blows up into gigantic success. I think I've seen plenty of people have amazing popularity and success and money, and, you know, like Biggie said, "Mo money, mo problems." It's true. It never, like, what satisfies you? I mean, I think that's when I started thinking about the label and kind of taking control of what I wanted to do. It's like, what are my expectations? Are they, like, you know, am I in a parade with confetti, like, you made a record? Like, you have to kind of ground yourself a little bit, because, you know, you could get really carried away.
Well, let's talk about the label for a second, because there are a lot of people who are doing that now, and you said, like, that's the way
it
to
is.
go. It's like,
start a blog.
Right.
I have a label. Hooray!
Right, and a lot of people do that, and it is sort of a self-serving, narcissistic thing, which with not a lot of oomph behind it. But you are not doing this just for yourself. You're now handling other people as well. You're taking their careers in your hand, and you're playing puppet master.
A little reluctantly. Because I didn't set, I mean, I think not so much out of, like, narcissism and you have to, like, this is my label and this is my stuff. It's more out of necessity. You know, this is my third album, my first vinyl. All of the MP3s that people downloaded off of iTunes, we funneled that into a little bank account and pressed old school vinyl, colored vinyl. There's a blue.
Really?
In there. Yeah.
Wow.
But that's the kind of thing that,
just for the DJs, so they can
just for the scratchers.
There you go.
But this is the kind of stuff that, you know, we can make these kind of huge decisions over at my office, because I don't have to answer to anybody else but my bands and my friends. What was your question again?
Well, we're talking about you're handling other people. It's not just you. It's not just about your blue vinyl.
Well, that's the thing. When I first said, okay, Local 638 Records, ideally, I mean, I first got the name came from my dad's Steamfitters Union. And just a tiny precursor, I didn't think I was going to play music for a very long time. I lived with my dad for several years. He was a prostate cancer patient. He was my roommate. He was hilarious. And he passed 2 years ago. So Local 638 was his union in New York City. And it was always like I remember just seeing mail coming, like checks or dues or anything like that. You know, those letters represented, like, strength and we're going to take care of you in my child mind. So after he died, I was so sad, and I knew I had to finish this record for myself and for him, because he's like, you put so much work into it, but at the same time, I'm like looking for anything to, like, channel grief to one side and focus on another. And all this stuff just started happening. I'm like, I know what it's called. My gang is called Local 638. And the cheetah, you know, my friend Ryan Berkeley in Portland, who illustrated this, which is my favorite thing ever, that just became the album cover. It just kills me. What's serious, ridiculous, strong, and has one missing eye? Me. I have one eye that doesn't work. But anyway.
You are a cheetah?
It's not Sandy Duncan style, but it's close.
It's close.
Yeah. So when I decided I was going to start the label, I did not want to work any other projects. I couldn't take any, I didn't know enough about it. I researched enough for myself. I know how to distribute music. I know how to sell it. I know how to, you know, at least market my band and myself. But I'm not Sub Pop. I'm not K Records. You know, I need to cut my teeth and really kind of learn. And so when I made a record with a friend of mine named Rusty Willoughby, who I was a huge fan of for years. He was in a band called Flop.
Wow.
And Pure Joy. He's just an amazing songwriter. And we recorded an album of duets right before the Visqueen record came out, and it's just beautiful. It's got cello and pedal steel. It's absolutely the opposite side of Visqueen, but we just...
It's a softer Rachel.
It's a little softer side, but it's Rusty's just like, there's some people that just kind of bring out the best in you, and he just, whenever he starts singing, I immediately know where to go. And so I followed that, and his record is just lovely, and
Would it be this one?
I brought it. Look, he made a little collage there. It's called Co-Birds Unite, and it's the first album I'm really going to push other than the Visqueen at this point on Local 638 Records. I'm so excited. I mean, it's something that I play every show with him, and I have a vested interest. I want to see this do well because I think it's so beautiful. And this is the kind of guy also, Rusty, who's been signed to Sony, to Epic, to Frontier. He was in the movie Hype about the Seattle, music comes and goes, but he has still consistently made beautiful music, and I don't know, that's the kind of stuff I want to go after.
So now in the major labels, they're lucky if like 1 in 10 album succeeds. Do you have to have that kind of...
No.
What?
I mean, I'm lucky. The fact that it's pressed and people come to shows and we can make amazing silkscreen posters and recoup on it and kind of just have fun until it catches fire. I mean, I will try and get, I will try and get the record heard as much as we can. We played live on KEXP, which is I can't thank KEXP enough for not only helping Visqueen across the world, but we played half of the Co-Birds record live on air, and we were getting messages. They didn't believe it was live until we started talking between songs. It's something that it's just really great that it translates and there's so many talented people involved, shy of myself. I just come in and sing on it. It's not like I have to play an accordion.
Oh, that's nothing, just singing. Come on.
But there's, Barrett Martin from the Screaming Trees is playing stand-up bass, and Johnny Sangster, amazing musician, is playing electric Wurlitzer. Barb Hunter, who's in the Afghan Wigs, is playing cello. It's one of those records that's just cool.
Let's talk about the talking for a second, because
What do you want to talk?
I'll let music critics fawn all over you, and they'll be right. But what I adore is that you are a master of patter. You enjoy...
the banter?
Yeah, the banter, the patter. You love that stuff. It's fantastic.
I can't help it.
It's not like going to see, Clapton or somebody who's trotting out the
who's
same...
talented.
Who's trotting out the same, between song nonsense
This
every
one's
time.
called Layla. May have heard of it.
He's got nothing.
I don't know. I've never seen Clap Dog. He's like,
Clap Dog. How attractive that is.
I know.
He's a god, for goodness sakes. Come on.
Look, I don't know what kind. I don't think I think once you reach immortal status, you don't need banter.
That's
I guess.
But you have your banter. And
I
this
can't
is
help
not
it.
something. It's not something you practice. You talked about wanting to reach every single person in the audience.
Yeah.
That just comes naturally to you.
It's a tick.
It's a tick. So.
I feel like it is kind of a tick.
Yeah.
But
It's a Tourette's. It's
literally a Tourette's.
A charming Tourette's of yours.
But I tell you, it's the best.
Yeah.
Because young or old,
Yeah.
it helps me out of a lot of sticky spots. Gross. But you know what I mean.
You're like Bert Convy at a show. You are like
I'd like
working
to think
you're
I'm
working
more
the
of-
Tattletales
No,
crowd.
I want.
Yeah.
People are like, who are your influences? Like thinking I'm going to be like Zeppelin, Stones. But I'm like, Tim Conway, Harvey Korman, Carol Burnett, Tom and Jerry. Yeah. My first real experience with music and emotion is in every Looney Tunes score. I mean, I think I don't know if that's for you.
Works for me,
when someone gets hit with a frying pan and it's like you kind of learn what humor is and music is and subtlety and sarcasm all at the same time.
I'm watching Looney Tunes with my daughter Ava, and I am finding out how much of my humor and personality comes from friggin' Daffy Duck.
I'm telling you right now, when he gets his bill blown off to the side and is just standing there like this, tapping his foot, Come on, like
That's it.
it's genius.
It's
It's
genius.
absolutely genius. I went to go see the music of Looney Tunes performed at Benaroya Hall, which was I was crying. And it was Barb, the cellist for Coburds, and she also plays in Visqueen.
Right.
She is in a few orchestras in town, and she took me to my first symphony, which was, of course, Looney Tunes. I'm like, it's their TV, you know.
That was your first symphony?
Yeah.
You are
It's sad. It's sad.
a woman of eclectic
I
taste,
know.
obviously.
Very, very daring.
Well, tell me, like, if people want to know more about the whole indie music scene, are there books or movies that you can possibly recommend, or something they should know, or should they just come to you? Should
Yeah,
they-
funnel directly to me. No, I mean, just take a look at your favorite. You know, there's a band called the two girls, Tegan and Sarah. I often look at Tegan and Sarah. You know, just kind of just investigate. That's half the fun. It's like walking into a library and figuring out what you want to read. It just takes a little digging. But if you want the formula on how to get from your bedroom making a song, putting it into GarageBand, to having Pitchfork review it,
Right.
good luck, Charlie. It's just the kind of thing where it's like, don't even worry about that stuff. Focus on making a song and making music that you love, that you actually think is cool. And then if everything, you know, if the stars align, people will dig it. But you can ask someone who you think is doing, you know, well, and maybe they'll tell you. Like, people ask me to put out their albums or to book their bands, and I still can't believe it.
Right.
I mean, I book entire U.S. tours. I'll nag the guy in Rhode Island. Hey, it's Rachel. I need a show on March 13th. But, you know, I'm calling all these people, and you go there enough and you get in your van enough, and they know it's you. You know, there's no like, don't look Miss Flotard in the eye, and she needs an extra pig in a blanket with every, you know, there's no pretense. It's like, they know I'm working it. So it's like, sometimes it takes those kinds of measures. So I don't know where the book is for that, but I'm sure there's several.
Pretense. But I know that I love you, love your music. I am not alone. Many people do. How do they find out
Warren.
more? How do they find out more about Local 638?
Well, keyboard, fingertips.
Yeah.
You can type in local638.com, which is soon to be revamped to showcase the Rusty stuff, which comes out in November.
Rusty Willoughby.
RustyWilloughby.com. You can hear
Coburds.
that.
There we go.
If you type Visqueen, Rachel Flotard, or Local 638 into the old interwebs, you'll get some real gemstones. I'm sure that the 29 live performance, where I'm literally 29 or so, yeah, just.
And if you go to Starbucks, you can find
If you
you
go to
talking about how caffeinated you are.
Starbucks.com, yeah, I had to switch to decaf, which is so hilarious because I was literally pulling my own eyebrows out. Like, does anyone else feel weird? I think I've had a little too much coffee.
Oh, no.
I know. No, but that's how you find out about that stuff. But we'll be playing a lot. I'm opening up for Chrissy Hine of the Pretenders next month.
I've heard of her.
Oh, you have? Yeah, she is great. At the Showbox. Our first show was opening up for Frank Black of the Pixies.
Oh,
He has many a name. Black Francis, Frank Black.
Frank Black.
But
Which
yeah,
I remember from Lance Henriksen and Millennium, but that's another story.
Rusty said the legends love us. Which I was like, they do.
that's
We'll
so
see.
nice.
I'm excited for the Chrissy Hine. I mean, she's a huge
She's pretty big.
idol influence on this lady,
Little chick.
on this little chicklet.
Thank you, Rachel Flotard.
Thank you, Warren. Oh, and thank you for wearing pumpkin today.
Thank you. I wanted to go with your hair.
Thanks for having me on the high
Have
bar.
some
dude.
Kir Royale. Oh,
Shall we? Oh.
listen. Drink enough and you can throw up.
Oh, thank you.
You're gonna have to drink more than that. You can do a T-shirt.
Oh, yeah. Well, they'll see it on you when you wear it around
I
town.
will.
Thanks, guys. Sorry you had to sit through that.